Actually everything on this cabinet. I just finished a cabinet. If anybody's paying attention, they would be done with it too. Just gonna pause that. What we want to do now is we're gonna start drawing the 3D cabinets. To do this, I would recommend working with the actual base and then adding the drawers to it. So we'll draw the base first. The way I would draw the base I would be doing the toe kick first, because I already have that drawn out as shown here. I'm just going to copy this whole 2D drawing, the home copy. I'm going to move it over here so I can work off here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go to an isometric view because it makes it look a lot easier. In this case, I'm just going to go to Southeast isometric. So I went to view, views over here, check which isometric view you want. I'm going to zoom into this copy of the toe kick. Now, to get each piece to extrude separately without getting the whole piece, my best bet will be using press pull. So you can type it in, because I don't have it set up to my tools, so I'm just going to type it in. It's a lot easier for me. Click enter, and I'm just going to select each one. This one goes up 4. Actually, they all go up 4. 4. The best part about this is that when I do this, I will get each piece separately. So if I do want to move it over or delete it or modify it anyway, it's separate, like real wood pieces would be before you actually screw them together. So that's my first position. That's my base. I'm going to go into a conceptual view because I prefer that from any other view. So I go over here, conceptual. And maybe that was a bad idea because it changes background. Let's go and undo that. Work like this for now. But my next setup would be I need to create the top, the rest of the body. To do that, I'm going to use this part here now. I'm going to make a copy of this, making sure I have everything selected. Go to copy command, copy it over. Of course, I missed a line, that's okay. Just draw it in. Actually, I missed 2 lines. Stretch that back in. Here's an arm missing line, that's okay. I can close that up. Like so. Now this part is actually 31 inches high. Well, not all the way around, because I'm going to. Alright, I'll show you guys. It's 31 inches high, but this is not an actual piece. This is the top portion of it. I'm going to delete this, extending these sides. Come to think about it, what would be easier is just to use the side view twice, because it already has a toe kit cut into it. And at that point I don't need these 2 sides of this toe kit because that's being repeated. I'm not sure if in 2010, but in 2011, if you move a sketch and you start drawing it, the del objects is set at 0 at default. For those who know what del objects is, let me show you if you don't. Del objects is basically, it sets a default if you're extruding an object, if it's an option to leave the sketch behind or to remove it as it's being extruded. So let's say I have this square here, and if I extrude it, you can see I have a box, right? If I move it over, there's nothing left behind. Now, if I have a box, and I have my del objects set at 0, and I extrude this, and move it over, sketch stays in there. So, it's helpful at times, and at other times it's annoying. It depends on your preference and on what you're working with. So in this case, I would not want to keep my sketches as I extrude an object. So I would set up the del objects at 0. At 1. So it deletes 1, deletes the item itself. 0 would mean that it doesn't delete at all. So the sketch stays. So that is del objects. What we're going to do next is I'm going to use this side view over here. Select it all. And I'm going to copy it to the side over here. Now if I did extrude and I extruded this object, you'll see that it's all squared out. That means it's actually a face that's extruding. It's not actual solid object. So you don't want that. What you want to do is actually type in press pull and select the object in the middle and then extrude it out to 0.75. Now there is another way of doing this about using pedit or boundary, but I'll show you guys later on when we're working with something else. So I have the side view. Now I just need the back view too. I'm just gonna actually, if I select del objects at 0 and I extrude this part, press pull, this part up 0.75, and I'm going to move it over. It leaves it behind. So actually, if you don't want to make copies and extruding things, setting del object at 0 is very helpful. So I have my side view. I'm going to have my other side view. It's the same thing. I got my back, and just need a top piece. The top piece is right here. Where is it? So if I do press pull, go up 0.75, I'm going to move this down. The next step would be to get it rotated correctly. To do that, I'm going to have to go to my view tab. I'm going to change my UCS2 to the left. So that changes the XY, allows you to rotate on a different angle. You'll rotate this one first. Go to home, rotate, select the point, make sure ortho is on. Rotate this one. And now I'm going to go to view, go to top view, rotate this around. Or you guys can do a 3D view, 3D rotate. That's an option. I'll show you guys that next. Move this over here and make a copy of it. Here. Oops. Go from here to here. Put this in the back. Jeez, I got that piece right there. And what I need next is actually on top of the, it's actually the full size of this top here, because that is our base that we're going to be working on. So extrude this 0.75. I'm going to move it to this point right here, and I'm going to move it up. It's 3 inches. And I'm going to put this part here on top. I'm going to actually just union this all. Probably shouldn't. Actually, I'll just make a copy first before I do that, because sometimes you make mistakes and you union it, and then it creates a lot of problems. To get to union it from another source, you can go over here to Solid Editing, Union, You can select your object, union it, and this is one whole piece now. So if I go to a visual style, conceptual, you guys can see that it's bordered up, but if I go under it, it's perfectly correct how it's supposed to be. Of course, that opening, it stays open because you don't need to close. The top will close it off once it's in place. Either it's plastic laminate top, epoxy top, I don't know, granite top. It's up to you guys what you guys want. You guys can make that too. Usually granite tops are thicker and plastic laminate tops are 1 inch thick, 25 inches deep, and the curb is 4 inches high by 1 inch thick. So, for your own reference, if you're interested in knowing that, but you don't have to, so it's up to you. Next step would be we need that middle bar in the middle over here. To get that, it's right here. You can trace it over. You can press pull it. Which I'm going to do, press pull 0.75. I'm going to rotate it. Now let's rotate. Another tool to rotate objects is a 3D rotate. Now to use a 3D rotate, what you have to do is select an object, or you can go to the command first. It's in modify, 3D operations, you go to 3D rotate, select that, select your object, click enter. Now it gives you options of which coordinates to use to rotate it on. We want to rotate on the red, which is the x-axis. And now you can see it's highlighted in yellow. If you move your mouse at ortho, it will show you which way you're rotating it. So you can rotate it to a specific way you want it. And then all you have to do is move it into the position of your cabinet. Now here's the problem. I extruded this part, but I didn't notice that there was a shelf in the way. So when I did a press pull, it made a hole. Anybody's interested how to fix this hole, it's right here. It's an easy fix actually. All I have to do is go to modify, solid editing, go to extrude faces, you select the face in here, and you extrude it out a specific distance, and it's fixed. So that will be common. You will be alright. Once I have this completed, what I want to do is actually start doing the doors. Do this first one first, or you can do this. It's really up to you. I'm going to use these actually as my reference. I'm going to make a copy of them, move it over. But what you want to do with these, you got to make sure you press pull or extrude each one separately so they're separate units. But another option would be just do one, because you're going to add the back shelving to it. So you have to draw that out and add it in. So you might as well just create one and make a copy of it once you've completed it. To do the shelving for the back of this, I'm just going to delete this rest of this stuff and don't need that. I'm going to close this up. Oops. Type in press pull. Press pull this up 0.75. The next step is I need this bottom part and this side part and this side part. So I'm going to copy this part here first. So there's a lot of copying and extruding for press pulling. That's just because that's the basis of doing 3D. You need to use a 2D object to actually make it 3D. So that's my front. I'm going to 3D rotate this by going to 3D operations, 3D rotate. I'm going to rotate over that. Get this, escape. some extra lines. And what I can do now is move this into the corner of my drawer face. This is a drawer face. This can be the sides. Now the sides are actually up 0.5, which I have to move it up. Move 0.5. And I'm going to make an exact copy from one side to the other by going from here to here and then moving it back 0.75, which gets me that. Next big step I need to do is I can change my UCS. So if I go to view, I do front. I can draw in the parts that I need, the back part. To get the back part of the drawer, I can just go to rectangle, so select here, type in D for dimension. My first dimension could be just drawing a line, and the next one is just 0.75. And I just drew a box into this position where I can extrude it using let's see if we can, oops, that's not the, let's see, press pull. Okay. Why is this extrude? And that distance is 4. Right, there we go. Next step is I want to close it up from the bottom. Actually, bottom is actually going to be the exact inside right here of the box. So to do that, I'm just going to draw a rectangle again. Make sure my UCS is correct, XY, which is the coordinates where I'd be working with. And so I'll have to rotate it better. You change the color so you guys can see it better. I'm just going to do a rectangle from here to here. And again, I'm going to go extrude, EXT for short. .75. Now I just got to rotate it, so I can use the modify solid 3D rotate, which is a really good tool, but older models don't have it, so you might have to do the change your UCS and rotate it from there. But here you go. I have one drawer complete. It's the same drawer twice, so I don't have to worry about that. So pretty much have 2 of them done. I can make one copy on top of the other, like so. Now, for those who are trying to make the last drawer, I made an additional copy, a third copy of this. All I have to do is extrude the face. The drawer, the back body is the same size. It didn't change. So to do that, I just have to figure out the differences from 8.75 to 6.125. Anybody in math whiz? Alright, if you're not, what is it? 2.6. Yeah. 6.125 minus 8.775, which is there's a difference is 2.675, right? Alright, it's something like that. Anyways, I go to solid editing, extrude faces. I go on top of this drawer face here, select that, and the path from up here to, I'm going to go 2.6875. 2.6. Oh well, let's. If you guys, actually, there's a quick calc. Let me see if I can type it in. If you go to Tools, Quick Calc. It's a Control-A command. So if you go to the Tools, Palettes, Quick Calc, it puts a calculator up on your screen. Hey, it's pretty useful if you're too lazy to figure stuff on your own using a calculator at hand. So you have one here, and it also does scientific, and it converts units, which is really nice if you're not too good with metrics and feet. This is your best bet. You don't have to go online, look for it or stuff. It's there. You have the option. So again, to get to that, all you have to do is go to Tools, Palette, Quick Calc. Now, from what I remember, since 2005 they have it. So even if you have an older model program, you can still work on this without any issue. So you get to this Quick Calc. Well, you can do the conversions, variables too, if you want, but that one is just too technical. We're not rocket engineers tonight. So what I was gonna do is 8.75 minus, what was the other? 6.125. 125. Let me just extend that. Enter. That's 2.625. Ah, that was close. I think I said that. Anyways, to extrude this face here, you have to go to Modify, Solid Editing, Extrude Face. You select the top face, pick a point, you go up 2.625, and you click Enter, because there's no taper. Exit this out. So now I have my second drawer complete. I mean, I can actually, if you want, you can extend this one higher, but I'm just going to leave it the same size. That way the manufacturer can make the same drawer without a problem. Less work for them. So hopefully they'll pass the savings to us. Let's see. Again, so I'm going to make a copy. The midpoint, put to midpoint here, and one more. So I pretty much have my whole drawers complete. I can draw the door without a problem because it's a simple one. Just gotta change my view. Go to top view. Gonna trace it over with a rectangle. Right. Oops, not this one. This one. Like so. Yep. Move it down. Extrude it. EXT for short. 0.75. Use my modify 3D operations, 3D rotate. Use the red one for rotate positioning. Rotate around, and that's my door. All I have to do next is just move it into place. Again, to move it into place, I go to Move command. I'm going to move it from here, from the center here to the center on this side here. But that's not perfect because it's off here, and it should be moved 0.5. So you get 0.5 gap here. I think that's 0.5. Let's see. Go to top view. Yeah, 0.5. And next step is I need to place this object here into this. To do that, figure out exactly where to place it. I might need to draw a line as a reference to my object so I know exactly where the center is. Now I can't always snap because I'm the wrong UCF. To change that, go to view. Change it to the left view. Don't ask me how I know that, I just do. It's just you get a hang of it and you figure it out. Okay. Take this around. There we go. So I drew that out. For you guys to see it better, I'm going to change the color. Color red. You can see it. It's right there. So now I can use that red line to help me coordinate the center. That's actually the center of the whole object. Put it over here against this center here. Oh, I guess that wasn't the center. Must have clicked the center of a drawer face. That's okay. Fix that. Let's see. Extra line. I'm gonna move can't figure out where the middle is, if you select that red line, there's a blue dot, and that dot is actually the middle, which is nice to know. So now I know it's somewhere over here. If I go to move, there it is, blue dot. There we go in the middle. And I'm just going to move this over 0.5. I'm going to change my shelving to be a different color, so it's, you know, more visually pleasing. This actually should be by layer. There we go. The one thing I did forget to do is I forgot to add in the shelf, the actual drawer, the door shelf inside, which is right here. It's not a problem. All I have to do is make a copy and extrude it and place it in position. So extrude it, extrude it, 0.75, and just have to move it in, which may cause a problem since I don't know where the middle is. But if I go in here, there we go. Yeah. That's not it. Alright, let's move the door back. So, if you want to move some object in the 3D and you want to place it back into the same position later on, your best bet would be, well, after you have your UCS set upright, that should be front, you just move it a specific distance. I'm going to use move, and I'm going to move it 50. Just got to remember that number and you'll be fine. Go back to the shelf here, you'll move it to the center of here, which makes it center. Now if I go to top view, I know this should be more back. Oops, I think we got, where did it go? I lost it. Ah, there it is. Moved in the wrong spot, that's okay, I'll just go undo. Just gonna actually move it back because there is supposed to be a gap around it because of the clearance. There we go, something like that. And I'm just gonna move this back 50. And I have myself a cabinet. Yeah, I have actually everything on this cabinet. I just finished a cabinet. If anybody was paying attention, they would be done with it too. Just gonna pause though.